Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's September 27th. My name is Matt, if you don't know me. I am the Chief Marketing Officer here at Legendary, and I will occasionally host. I'm in guest host mode for Dave, who's in hurricane preparation mode. And so I am guest hosting this morning. I'll also be hosting tomorrow. I typically host on Wednesdays. Happy that you're here. And if you're live with us, let's do something a little different. Type to us in the chat. I can kind of see the chat over here, where you're tuning in from, and let us know what part of the world you're tuning in from. We have people from all over the world who watch our show, some live and many more as replays on podcasts or video replay on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. So we have a special guest today. I'm really excited to talk to somebody from the sort of like parenting or yeah, I guess it's like parenting coaching from the parenting niche, and somebody who's developed basically a parenting coaching program, which is really cool. At Legendary, we teach the core four, but we call them the core four business models online. But really, they're the core four business models to selling higher ticket products on the internet, meaning you could sell your own digital course. You could help sell somebody else's digital course as an affiliate or a referral partner. We have coaching and consulting, and then events and masterminds. And so this fits into the category of the coaching and consulting kind of niche, where people pay our guest, Sarah, a fee to join her coaching program. And she's going to tell us a little bit about that today. I'm really excited to have on Sarah. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Where are you calling in from?
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, so we're not getting a bunch of hurricane, but I know we're going to get a little wet here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, thanks for coming on. You are a parenting coach. Tell us a little bit about you. You have kids, you're in North Carolina, you have this little parenting thing. How did you start this? And did you start it while having a full-time job, or were you just at home as a mom, or how did this all begin?
Yeah. So I am a board certified behavior analyst. So I am a former developmental therapist. I have worked with families for over 15 years. And when the pandemic, well, right before the pandemic, I was about to have my second baby. And I had decided to become a stay-at-home mom, knowing that I was going to do something like this in the future, but just kind of waiting for the right time to come. And then COVID happened, and I had a baby, my second baby in life. So my kids are 19 months apart. So we were, we have young kids. They're 4 and 2.5. And when my daughter was 2.5, so about a year and a half ago, we went through a really rough phase with her behavior. Just, terrible twos, which I don't really like that term, but I'm going to use it anyway. Okay. It was just hard. She was just, all the tantrums and if you have toddlers, you get it, the tantrums. And I started thinking like, okay, I had gone into kind of a parenting place that I didn't want to be, of like yelling and, giving a lot of chances and nagging and all these parenting things that I knew I didn't want to parent that way. It didn't align with my values. Okay. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna like use all the tools that I already have as a behavior analyst. I got to just make these changes. I don't know what to do. And so I decided to throw up an Instagram account, Joyful Toddler Parenting. I was like, I'm just going to kind of share my journey here, and we'll see what happens with it.
Cool.
And I have tons of friends that have toddlers, and it just kind of grew from there. And then I eventually was like, okay, I'm ready to start adding in coaching. And so I made an official business. But it really was a very organic, spontaneous start.
That's super cool. I really like that too, because for a lot of people, they wonder, so they have dreams of starting some sort of like online business. Like maybe they want to start drop shipping, or they want to create their own t-shirt business or something. I don't know what it is. And I think at a base layer, a lot of people struggle with just looking around and just saying, what am I already good at? Or what is already like really important to me? And coaching is one of the easier ones to say, oh, okay, like this is right in front of me, and I don't have to go through 18 months of product development, or I don't have to hire a graphic designer, or like a bunch of different things. You can kind of like step right into it and make it more organic. How long ago did you actually like hit post on the Facebook group, like actually just start it?
So I started with my Instagram page, and that was in April 2021,
Okay.
April or May, something like that.
Wow, so super
Um,
recent.
yeah,
Cool.
yes. And then I started my Facebook page. I'm getting confused with my years. Like about a year ago.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah. And then the formal like coaching offer itself. So you start you're basically well, you tell us. Did you start just
Yeah.
basically creating content like documenting the journey, or giving parenting tips, or what was the content like in the beginning?
Yeah. So at first of all, I had no idea what I was doing on Instagram.
Hey, join the
Still
club.
kind of don't, right? It is a whole different ball game as a business owner than personal.
Yes.
um, so I started off kind of sharing some tips, sharing my story, sharing like how we were implementing this, in the twos. And I also had a baby at that time. So, very real life. Like I get it. I get like being a mom, staying home. We're in the middle of COVID at this point. So here's how I'm like using all of the skills I already had, but actually implementing them in like a more relatable, realistic manner.
Sure.
So it started as that, and I was kind of like, I'm gonna offer coaching, but I didn't have any sort of solid thing. It was just kind of like, if you want help, reach out to me, but that was it.
Right.
And then the actual like coaching started. I actually incorporated as a business last December, so December 2021, and that's when I started officially offering coaching.
Cool.
And now it's changed into a 12-week program, so it's like much
That's
more
really
official now.
cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. I'm so curious, like, when you started that process, how did that just like, how did you get the idea to bring in like a 12-week process, and then also just as a doing a scan over your website and stuff, you also have a workshop about toddler behavior strategies. Like, are you coming up with these ideas by looking at other people online and sort of being like, "Oh, I could do that," or are you just kind of coming up with this out of thin air, or how are you coming up with these ideas for offers?
Yeah. I wouldn't say it was out of thin air. I would say it's kind of a combo of them both. I
Cool.
started actually offering one-time coaching sessions,
Got it.
and because I was kind of in the space of like, I need to just get clients.
Yep.
And when I really went to like, what are my values and what really aligns with like how I want to do things,
Yep.
it was to do this 12-week program. Because when we're looking at behavior, and especially when we're looking at toddler behavior and we're looking at parent behavior, which I talk a ton about parent behavior, because that leads into toddler behavior. Um,
Imagine that.
yeah, having these 12 weeks was so important to me to like, one, make sure that I'm helping you be able to implement everything, making sure I'm able to help you troubleshoot and tweak things to fit your family. And then also because like you're going to have these highs and lows of behavior. So I didn't want people doing just a couple sessions and then being like, I'm great, I don't need to do anymore. And then boom, they're like right back where they were. Or the
Mm.
opposite, where they're like, this isn't working, I'm going to quit now, when what they really needed to do was like have some consistency. So
Yep.
I found that the 12 weeks like really got them through a bunch of different transitions, and like
Hmm.
usually like kind of one big thing in their life, and help to build consistency, which is what a lot of parents don't have when it comes to toddler behavior.
Right. Yeah. So when you yeah, when you start with somebody for 12 weeks, um, here's what I think a lot of our audience would be curious about is how does that deliverable happen? Meaning specifically, are you delivering over Zoom? Are you actually showing up to somebody's house? Like, if somebody signs up with this sort of whatever, they book an initial consult with you or whatever, and then they sign up for coaching or whatever, they take us through the customer or the client journey from the moment they hit your page, which, by the way, I just wanted to say, let me see if I can pull this open real quick. I'm gonna try to. Sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't, but let's see.
Trying to
I
share it.
One thing that I thought was cool, and we can share your website so people can see it later, but is just I wanted to say and validate that this one-page website is so smart. Like, there's not too much here, there's not too much info, there's just enough for somebody there's just enough, what do people say, to be dangerous, but it's not overwhelming, and,
Mhm.
the type of marketing that we teach here at Legendary is what's called direct response marketing, which is basically, here's the message, here's what I do, here's the call to action. Make it clean and simple, because people are always going to do what you don't want them to do. Assume that people are going to do the opposite of what you want them to do. So make it really easy. So let's say I just wanted to validate that and say that that's a really great way to get clients, is make it super, super simple to do that. And so let's say if I'm somebody here on the website, I hit book initial consult. It's what, like a 30-45 minute call or something. Is that on Zoom? And then how does the process work? You're on a call with them and you're going to sign them up for coaching?
Yep. Yep. So it's a usually about 45-minute call. I really look at what are your big struggles, what are your goals, like what would success look like at the end of 12 weeks,
Mm,
and then coming up with usually 4 to 6 goals, I would say, for over the 12 weeks. So it doesn't mean that we can't incorporate other things, but these are like the really important things to your family, to your parenting, like to moms, especially feeling
yeah.
good about themselves.
Right.
And then um, you start the coaching program from there. So I have people do my toddler behavior workshop as kind of like a crash course in toddler behavior. It's kind of a very foundational, like, behavior 101 class, and that's a group workshop. And then you move in, and it's virtual. And then you move into 12 one-on-one Zoom calls. So it's
Wow.
all virtual.
Now the
Um,
group one is, how many people do you have on that? That's super fascinating.
yeah, so a lot of times I have people sign up and they end up watching the replay instead of watching it live. So I think
Totally.
live I've had maybe 10 people,
Cool.
um, and then a lot of people watching the replay.
Yep.
But I like to keep it small because I like to keep it interactive.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Makes perfect sense, especially in something with parenting that can be so, it can be kind of sensitive. It can be like,
yeah.
it's intense. Parenting is intense. Um,
Yeah.
so they get on the group. I like that too. That's cool to have that group element. Um, I don't know if this is the reason you thought through that, but as I'm thinking through it, it just seems like it kind of reduces a bit of the pressure. It also helps validate, hey, I'm not the only one, which is a really powerful thing for people. So they do that. They go through 12
Mhm.
you do those weekly?
Yes. Yep.
Cool. Wow. So it's a yeah,
A
that would
lot.
make sense, a 12-week program. Um, so for 12 weeks, you're working on those goals, you're unpacking. Basically, my guess is, you kind of alluded to this, but a lot of times, like, um, toddler parenting has maybe more to do with the parent than it does the toddler. And you go through this coaching program. I'm curious, do people do this as just one parent? Do they sign up as a couple? Is it a mixture?
It's a mixture. I would say it's about 50-50.
Okay, cool.
Um, a big part of it, and even if a person decides to do it on their own, I will try to at least get their partner to do a session or two, to really make sure they're on the same page, because that's a huge part of it. Again, when we're talking about consistency, if you have two totally different parenting styles, you're not
Yeah.
going to be consistent.
Right. So on the note of, okay, so here's business model. We covered business model, how you structure everything. I am also really curious about the content creation piece, which, a lot of people who are newer to the internet or newer to doing doing some sort of like freelance, doing their own business, being a coach, something like that. That's the element that sometimes is a struggle, is hard to figure out. First, was it new for you to go on TikTok, to go on Reels? And then what have you found to be sort of a catalyst for success? You're having success. You have tens of thousands of followers. So you're doing a good job. What have you found works and what doesn't? And take us into that process of content creation so that you can stir up and generate more leads.
Yeah. So yes, I went into this thinking that I knew Instagram and Facebook very well because I've used it, since college or whatever. So I was like, this is easy. It's not. It was learning it as a business was very, very different.
Yeah,
And I definitely had a reality check there.
sure.
I thought I was gonna like wake up and have like hundreds of thousands of followers, and that didn't
Hey,
happen.
don't we all?
Right. So I started on Instagram. I started with like carousels and just regular posts. And then started like really researching how do I grow? And everybody's like, you gotta do reels, you gotta do reels. So I started doing those, gosh, probably November of last year, November
Mhm.
2021. Did my first reel and I was so terrified. And somebody was like, you just have to do it. Like you just have to start, just push record, just do it. So I did it. And I think it was crickets. Um, so I was like, it's discouraging, but I just
Yeah.
kept doing it. And I wouldn't say I've had like crazy success with
Mm.
Instagram Reels. I mean, like I haven't had viral success. Um, However, I've gotten clients, and that's obviously what's more important. It is very hard to focus on that when you see all the numbers, and it's hard not to get caught up in those numbers. But
Yeah.
I think on Instagram, being really relatable, and then stories are
Mm.
where that's where I relate. That's where I get my clients is people like I share just very real life. Like I can help you with the toddler stage, and also I'm going through the toddler stage, and I get it. My kid threw a tantrum yesterday. Like these kinds of things I share of like I'm not going to promise you that your life is going to be perfect and tantrum free, but I'm
Right.
going to show you how you can still have joy in the toddler stage within all of these challenges. And so I think, and what I've heard and what people have said, like clients have said, they're like, I came to you because you seemed relatable and you didn't seem like you would judge me or make me feel like crap because I'm feeling like crap like a parent as a parent. Um, so that was
Mm.
Instagram. Yeah, TikTok was a whole different ball game. And I've had better success on there in terms of numbers, but less so in terms of conversion. So again, easy to get caught up in those numbers and it's
Sure.
exciting. On there, it was just posting a lot. That's pretty much it. Just
The
posting a lot. So
Yeah.
I will even just post my Instagram stories to TikTok, and I like TikTok where it's much less like curated, and I don't feel like I have to like do a whole thing and like a whole trend. Like I don't know, it doesn't take as much effort. So it's just kind of like record, post, done. Um,
Yeah. Do a whole
and it,
thing.
yeah,
I know, yeah.
Instagram's a lot. It's a
Yes.
lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the image and there's so yeah, TikTok, you can kinda just hit post, especially because
Yeah,
there's so much content out there. It's like,
it's
dude,
a lot.
this is gonna
Yeah,
get lost in the middle, like, it's just gonna get lost in the internet world somewhere and, it's gonna be gone in 3 weeks. So,
yeah,
in that
yeah.
in that way, I think that TikTok has helped make content creation a little easier because it's yeah, there's this element of like this can just I can archive this, I can hide this in my privacy settings if this really
Mm-hmm.
sucks, or everybody's just gonna forget this video ever existed in 6 months, especially if I just keep posting. Um,
Yeah.
what a lot of our clients do is they post uh, a few times a day on TikTok, and they use like there's apps like snaptic.app where you can remove the watermark and they'll repost it, and
Yeah.
basically they just utilize that content across all their platforms. But um, we find a lot of times people will go like it's really weird. Some people will go really viral on Facebook Reels, and some people will go really viral on TikTok, and it's a little different. But generally, I think what your experience is getting more views on TikTok, growing a followership that way, leading to less conversions, less clients
Hmm.
is kind of a typical. I think that that's a pretty common thing. Like more Facebook and Instagram for conversions, but generally less growth. Although um, people on their Facebook like personal profiles posting reels have had a lot of growth. On business pages, they've had less. It's maybe something with the algorithm or something. Um, yeah, it's a mystery.
The algorithm on Facebook, I was just, repurposing content, and then I think it was in July, I just had like a few go viral, and I got all these followers all of a sudden, and now it's died back down. So I'm like, I don't know.
It's so weird. The way I explain that is sort of like a roller coaster, right? And so, um, like especially with these short viral clips, like these short what do you call it? Short form video. Like a lot of people are trying to ride the waves of like, wow, somebody just told me that TikTok's really hot right now, or like Instagram's really hot right now. And then they'll jump from platform to platform, and by
Hmm.
the time they get there and actually start creating their content and post videos, it's like too late a little bit. It's like that one
Yeah.
viral moment happened. They changed something in the algorithm for a couple days, and now it's gone. So we usually or I'm usually instructing people like just be omnipresent, be on all these platforms at once,
Yeah.
and if you're consistent on all of them, then if you have a couple off days that are super viral, you don't have to worry about missing out on that traffic or that sort all the views and stuff because you're already kind of posting and you're already there, I guess. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so when you're posting, are you posting like, okay, from a coaching angle, posting content, trying to get views and trying to get people to follow you and then maybe become a client? Are you sort of actively posting like, "Hey, follow me," or "Hey, go to my website or go to the link in my bio for more or to book a call," or are you more so just focused on giving value and bringing a little entertainment, but also bringing like coaching or bringing parenting tips? Like, what's been sort of your strategy in terms of like content style?
I think it's changed. So in the past, it was just get people to see this
Yeah.
and give out all the tips,
Okay.
especially like toddler behavior tips.
Okay.
And then again, as I've become more confident and really like looked at my values as a business, it's much less about giving toddler behavior tips than it
Mhm.
is to help parents change their parenting and like change their, philosophies, or not their philosophies, but like their to parent in line with their values,
Yep.
um, and just like change their mindset. And so I do more kind of like coaching videos now. And on TikTok, I direct to my website since you can't DM, which is unfortunate. And then on Instagram, I do a lot in stories, a lot of just like sharing client wins, how coaching has changed things for them, or just in my own life of like, here's how I handled this situation from kind of a coaching perspective.
Yeah.
And then I'll put a link to, book your initial consult or let me know if you have questions, that kind of stuff.
Can I, yeah, that makes sense to me. Can I share are you cool if I share screen on your TikTok and ask you about just this strategy real quick?
Sure.
Um, so, okay. Now, full disclosure, I used this Google Chrome extension called Sort for TikTok. And so basically what it does is it sorts somebody's channel by most watched to least watched videos. And whenever I'm kind of like just looking up somebody's profile or whatever, I'll just kind of like go there and do that and see like, well, what content's got them the most views, like what's worked well. I am so curious about like these style videos, which I guess you can't really see my mouse, but let's see if I can highlight it. The video, this one. So like you've got a lot of things on the screen and it's a 5-second
So
video and
much.
it's your most watched video. Now, a lot of people might say, wow, that's so obvious. I see what's happening. But for those of us who are newer and aren't quite as sure, why would these 5-second clips get so many views? How is that? Because this is a really smart strategy, especially with the TikTok algorithm and stuff. Why do you do that? And what do you think is the strategy? Because it's got so many views.
Yeah. So I mean, the strategy. This is like in my TikTok research of post a really short video, so they have to loop with a lot of text. So they have to watch it multiple times, and it drives up your views. Now, I will say, I think I do less of that now,
Okay.
because it does. I don't I don't love it. First of all, it doesn't look great, obviously. And secondly, I'm just like, I don't want to feel like I'm tricking people, but it does work. It
It
got me a
does.
lot of
Um,
followers.
here's what I will say about that strategy. It's a great strategy. It's so smart. You should do more of it. Don't do less of it. But here's we've done a lot of like experimentation with stuff like this. And one thing that we have found is videos that are a bit more on the let's play with the algorithm side. Um, if you can make it big and obvious, here's why I say you should do it more because you do this. If you can make it big and obvious who the video is for, then you're
Mhm.
way more likely to get followers who are actually interested. So
Mhm.
what we see is when people do this kind of a thing, and it's sort of, how would you say, like catfishing. Like it's to get all those views, but it's unclear about why somebody might follow you. What happens is they'll get a bunch of followers from that and tons of views and go
Mhm.
super viral. And then the rest of the content they post, all the people seeing it are people who are not interested in it. And so they're
Yeah.
reporting it or they're unfollowing or there's lots of bad engagement after it and then their channel tanks. But like in your case, let me bring this up one more time because I think this is really valuable. You've got the first words of the post are toddler parents. And so I never recommend timeout or spanking biting back. Here's what I recommend. But the important piece about that is that it says toddler parents. And then here, uh, give your toddlers directions.
Mhm.
So this is why your toddler doesn't listen. All of this is just very like in our world of marketing, we would just say that's really good copywriting. If you're gonna build an attention grabbing hook to grab somebody's attention, the first thing you want to do is call out who it's for. And especially on social media, because yeah, it might be a little tricky on the algorithm, but you use the word toddler like 5 times on the screen in a lot of these videos.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, when you think through human behavior, okay, so you're like a behavior analyst, right? You think,
Yep.
oh, that's really all that marketing is behavior
Yeah.
analysis. And you look through and somebody's sitting there and like the word toddler, especially if they have a toddler who's like driving them insane, that's gonna just totally it's gonna totally jump it's gonna pop off the screen at them. They're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, like, what is this?" And somebody like, I don't have a toddler. I'm not interested in toddler parenting, no offense, but
No
I'm
offense
just gonna
taken.
scroll. It's not a pain point for
Yeah.
me, right? It's just like, okay, cool. Tuesday.
Which is what I want.
Okay.
Like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
No, I don't want you to follow me. even
Yep.
though you're very nice.
Totally. Yeah. And for people who are thinking of doing this strategy, if you're watching this right now, you're thinking about doing this strategy um of posting a ton of stuff on the screen and giving a lot of tips all at once, short little 5-second clip. If you're thinking of doing that, just make sure you're calling out your audience and you're making it really clear to your audience, like, hey, by the way, this is for you if you know, whatever it is. And I've seen people do this who are dog trainers. They do online dog training courses or online dog basically coaching, where they'll have, you know, get your dog to stop barking at the mailman, you know, and there's like a bunch of tips. Um, but also the thing that I wanted to say about that strategy, uh, because I think we just skimmed over it, but I just wanted to mention if it's okay. For those of you who are watching and didn't really catch what that strategy is doing, is it's basically because it's 5 seconds and somebody's reading each of those bullet points, the video's replaying over and over and over again. And in the algorithms, so basically in the way the software is built from Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, TikTok videos, is the replays of videos tells TikTok, hey, this video is getting viewed a lot. It must be valuable. So on one hand, yes, it's sort of like this tricky thing you can do, but also there's real tips in there. Like,
Yeah.
you know, somebody who's sitting in a room with a toddler who's like screaming, and you know, if somebody's on TikTok, maybe they do need coaching if their toddler's screaming and they're on TikTok. But, you
Hey, we
know, they
all gotta
might
cope
just be like
somehow.
yeah, they might just be like, "Oh, talk in a really goofy voice." Right? To you or I, maybe we're sitting here and we're like, "This is a little bit silly, whatever." But for somebody who's in that moment, you know, getting little tips and bite-sized things, they might screenshot that and come back to it later. They might send it to their husband, you know, whatever. And that little list of tips, you know, could live on somebody's phone, or they might send it out to their friends or something. Yeah, I just think it's a cool strategy, very underrated, and gets you a lot. I mean, those all of those videos are basically your most watched videos, and you've done something else that's pretty smart too, which is basically reposting those videos, or posting something really close, with the same headline, the same hook. Where did you learn the marketing for that? Like, the headline writing, that's really savvy, and usually people who are newer to marketing, that's one of the things they don't get right away, which is that kind of headline writing. Like, what made you think that strategy up, especially putting a headline up at the very top of the video? Did you just see other people doing it?
Yeah, so on TikTok, I had never used it, like versus, Instagram or Facebook, I used it personally a ton.
Yep.
TikTok, I had never been on. I had no idea anything.
Sure.
And I just started watching videos and started like following just a few experts. Um, and these were a lot of the strategies that people were recommending. And I
Yeah.
know when I first started, I randomly had a reel go viral, and I was like, oh, maybe I should start posting on TikTok more. And then I saw that strategy of posting more than they can read in 5 seconds.
Sure.
And just started trying. I was like, oh, this works.
Yeah. No kidding. 15,000 followers later. And in a niche like parenting or something, that's a lot of followers. I mean, that's definitely nothing to sneeze at. And I like I wanted to just say one other type of content that you also do that. Here, let me share this back. We'll do one more little example. But this is something that from a content creation standpoint we call edutainment, which is this toddler fighting nap. Try this. This is this is just so savvy. I think the here, let me go back so people can see it. It's this video right here that's kind of blinking. Um, it says toddler fighting nap, try this. And it sits on your timeline, right? And it has 13,000 views. But you lead in with sort of an intro. Do you have a toddler who's transitioning out of needing a nap, but they still need one sometimes and they always fight it? Try this. Just super smart, like copywriting and headline writing there, because again, you're hammering. Some people would look, here's the thing, some people would look at a 14,000 person audience or followers, and they would say something like, look at all the people with 1 million followers. Look at all the people with 5 million followers. You got nothing, right? It's a tiny audience. But the truth is an audience should always be gauged based on um, the quality of the audience and the quality of the follower. And so as I look through, when I do like a social media audit for somebody, and I look through, do they have 1 million followers, but every video is a little bit unclear about what is actually going on? Or do they have 10,000 followers who are and all their content says the word like toddler transitioning from a nap, or toddler screaming, or toddlers, whatever, learning to tie their shoes or whatever. And everything is headline written beautifully in a way that's not like overdone, but it's specific. And so all of those 15,000 followers are likely like really dialed in to like needing help with toddlers, and so I just think that that's so savvy. And for people who are worried about followers and they're like, oh, I only got like 5,000 followers, if you're creating content that's really really dialed to your niche and really dialed to your audience, that 5,000 followers, there could be tens of thousands of dollars tucked inside of that small followership, no question about it. And especially in something like, I don't know, especially in something like parenting, what could possibly be more important than parenting, right? Like what could possibly be, and that's a just a reason that I think that this business model, being in the parenting niche, is um, such a great niche to be in from a business perspective, because no matter if we're in a market's blowing up, market's going down, recession, whatever, there's really nothing more important to spend money on than your relationship with your kids and their development. So like from
Yeah.
a like not a job security standpoint, but kind of a job security standpoint, like it is a great niche to be in. And I think that's super cool. But just on the note of that last piece of content, we call this edutainment, education and entertainment. And when you combine those two elements, that's sort of where the magic happens. And yeah, I felt like that video, transitioning out of a nap. Um, you have this here. I wanted to share. Sorry if this is embarrassing, but it's actually a compliment.
I'm like, what are you gonna share?
Well, I just feel like, as people watch this, I a lot of times will train and teach people to kind of smile through their talking, right? Or have fun with the content itself. And so, you're describing a child with a nap, but like you still feel kind of happy. There's an energy coming through the screen that feels like this is positive energy. That's something I want to be a part of. And it taps into the human psychology that's like, hey, this person's talking about kids not wanting to go to bed or needing a nap or whatever. But they're still happy, somehow. I don't know how, but they're still happy. And um, I think that creating content in bite sizes like that have little tips. So you've got the content on one hand over here that's more like, you've got all the things posted on the screen all at once and it's short 5 seconds. But then if that's all you ever do, you don't connect really with people. People don't
Yeah.
know who you are, and how are you going to coach them if you're not connecting with them and displaying for them that you can help them by giving them, it's have you heard of Gary Vaynerchuk?
No.
Okay, Gary Vaynerchuk wrote this book called Jab 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 Right Hook. And he's probably one of the leading social media marketing people um ever. I don't know. But his whole thing is a boxing analogy, which is give free stuff, give free stuff, give free stuff, ask for the sale. And so it's jab, 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 right hook for
I love it.
ask, you should be giving away a free something three plus times. More free stuff, more free stuff, more free stuff. Now people are like, dang, this person's great. Hey, by the way, here's my book. By the way, I
Yeah.
offer coaching. And it's a way to serve people. It's not just a sales tactic. It's actually a way to just like bring more happiness and value to somebody's life, but also um, to build a business too, I think.
Yeah. I like
Um,
that.
yeah, so overall, I just wanted to, say, as I look at your content, it's really impressive, and I think those little strategies tucked inside our audience is looking for the little nuggets of like, what do I do with my content? And the reason I'm pointing out, the how you've set up your content and the different ways that you do your content is because what you've done is what everybody else who's watching this should do, which is you said, I went out and I found a couple people in my industry, in my niche, who were doing well, and I kind of looked at their strategy and I said, hey, I could do that. Like, that's not that hard. That's not that complicated. This isn't rocket science. Another human did this on their phone. I'm sure I could figure it out too. And it worked. So congrats on that. That's super cool.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been very fun. And I will say back to your point of like not needing a ton of followers. And if you're watching, like I get it completely. Like the numbers can become a mess with your head.
Yeah.
Um, but the nice thing about having a lower amount of followers, especially on Instagram, is being able to connect with them. So my DMs are like always open, but like actually people DM me and they ask questions and they have issues, and I'm actually able to provide value in the DMs and connect with people. And that's where sales end up happening, is because they're like, oh, this is a real person that I've connected with versus, I have 1 million followers and I don't see any of your DMs.
Right. Oh, oh, that's so true. And it's such an underrated thing for, especially, people have imposter syndrome when they start a coaching business. A lot of times they're like, me,
Yeah.
really? Like, you want to learn from me? My kid's screaming in the other room and I'm texting you on, I'm DMing you on Instagram about how to make your toddler an angel. It's like, that is such a valuable piece of being new as a coach or a consultant, or if you're selling your own product or something. The benefit there is you're small, you have very small scale, and you can the level of attention that you can devote to somebody and the level of value you can give at that level is really key. And then making the shift later, that's later, to more automation and scale. But in the beginning days, in some ways, it's even easier because you do have that time. You do have that ability to give sort of one-on-one help and attention and care with somebody, which is exactly what people are looking for, So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, what's the future like? Are you just loving and happy and content with where you're at today right now and just growing that slowly and sort of scaling your coaching program up? Are you thinking of introducing other offers, or yeah, where are you at with that?
So I think you asked me this in the very beginning and I kind of skipped over it of what else I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I think I might have mentioned that I'm a stay-at-home mom. So I am a stay-at-home mom. I have the two kids. That is my priority. And being able to be home with them, be able to do things with them, parent the way that I want to is my top priority. So the coaching fits in as it works for my family. So like right now, my kids are at preschool, so I can do work stuff.
Sure.
But I really fit it around their school schedule, and I also get up at 5 a.m. and make it happen. But that's kind of my goal, is to grow it a little bit each year as they're in school more, and as they're more independent. But to keep it a part-time thing. I
Mhm.
like doing just the coaching. Maybe eventually I'll do a group program, but I love the individual coaching. It lights me up and it's just so much fun. So it's a nice break from just being a mom. Not that there's a just, but from having all of my attention on
Yeah.
toddler life, it's nice to talk about other people's toddlers.
Totally. I connect with people your age and yeah, it seems like you were pretty successful before having kids, like in a career and like doing your thing. And yeah, so cool. I think I just lost you for a sec. I think we're back though.
Yep, you did.
Okay,
Yep, we're good.
cool. No, I was just saying, it seems like you had a career and everything before having kids, and then, you have kids and it's like, I hear this a lot with moms, which is like, I still have like a little bit of fire under my ass. Like I still have a little bit of like go getter, like I'm ready to go. And you're like, yeah, I was up at 5 a.m. Like I make it happen. So it's just cool. I don't know. Isn't it amazing that we live in an age where, the power of the internet has allowed people to run businesses from their house? Like what a crazy world we live in. What an opportunity and time that we live in to have that capacity. Like I don't know. I didn't necessarily grow up with that, but like I feel like I was pretty young when the internet was starting to get going. I was selling random crap on eBay when I was in high school. Like I don't know. It's been going for a while, but there's also like legit people who when they were born, like the internet was a thing and it was just going and this is their
Yeah.
whole world in life. But 25 years ago, like you couldn't start an online toddler parenting coaching business. Like that's just not a thing. So
No,
cool,
and
man.
having people refer you, like, I've seen all these things of like, let people work for you while you sleep. Like
Yeah.
somebody posts something or shares one of your reels or whatever, and you're like, I'm getting free marketing. Obviously it takes time, but you're still getting free marketing while you sleep.
Yep.
Um,
It's
but yeah,
amazing.
it is. It's really fun. I really enjoy being able to have this way to have something on my own, but also to like help other parents, especially moms, to enjoy this stage because I love it. I think it's the greatest ever, and I know a lot of other people do not feel that way about the toddler stage. So if I can help anybody, that's my goal.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I love that. If people want to go find you, here would be the spot, right? They can just find you. It's
Yep,
super easy, joyful toddler parenting.
pretty easy. Yep, I'm on
Cool.
Facebook too, but those are kind of the two places. Facebook kind of gets the repurpose stuff. And
Cool.
Instagram is nice for connecting. So if anybody wants to DM me,
Sweet. That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, go
yeah.
follow both for if you've got toddlers, maybe you need to sign up for a coaching session. But also from content creation, we covered some stuff today about how to create content, how to build a following, how to go viral on different styles of content, which I think could be really valuable to give Sarah a follow and then actually just kind of watch how she does that. So Sarah, thanks so much for coming on. This was really
Yep.
great, and we got a lot of value. I got a lot of value out of this today, and
Uh,
yeah,
Thanks for
thanks so
having
much.
me.
Of course,
This is
anytime.
fun.
I'll send our audience over to go follow you, and yeah, have a great rest of your Tuesday.
Sounds good. Thank you. You too.
You're welcome. All right, everybody. So it's Joyful Toddler Parenting. If you're listening just on audio alone, it's Joyful Toddler Parenting. And you can find her on TikTok or Instagram. You can also find Sarah on Facebook. Just search Joyful Toddler Parenting. You're going to find it. And give a follow. I'd recommend that you go. We did a little thing today where we looked through some of her content on TikTok. I would the way that you engage with social media, I would recommend you go there not as just a consumer, but kind of take a look and do some investigating. What's Sarah doing with how she creates her content? What's the style? What's she putting on the screen? We talked a little bit about how she builds headlines at the top of some of her videos that has the word in all caps, toddlers, right? She's pointing out who her audience is. There's lots of gold nuggets there. That's a wrap for our Tuesday, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks again to Sarah, and we'll be back here again. I'm hosting again tomorrow. We do these 5 days a week and have been for years with different guests every single day who are finding success online, who are stay-at-home moms who have set up a coaching business, who are we've had people laid off from their corporate job of 30 years and hop online and start selling digital courses. the opportunity on the internet today is so mind-blowing and vast to me, that you can come on every single day at 10 a.m. Eastern and watch a new episode and a new person. So we'll be back here tomorrow, Wednesday on the 28th, 10 a.m. Eastern. See you, everybody.